Welcome to Closer to Venus. I'm Johnny Burke, and today's guest is MD Selig. He is a decorated Marine jet attack pilot, filmmaker, and author of the psychological thriller Hush, which blends real-world ops insight with fiction to explore things such as alien manipulation, deep state deception, and mind control. In this episode, we'll discuss his experiences that inspired this book. Is Hush purely a work of fiction? Or is it a disclosure document disguised as fiction? MD, welcome to the program.
It's an honor to be here, Johnny. How you doing?
I'm pretty good for a Saturday. We've got a lot to unpack here, so I'm going to jump right into it here.
Sure.
Alien manipulation. This ought to be a good one. How did you learn about that?
Oh, my goodness. That's a big one. So let's think of my most concise answer here for that. My background of just doing heavy research, obviously, after my military career, and I come out of a screenwriting background, and a lot of the stuff I do is just research. It just drove me to realize, like, the entire deception that's been going on for all of us, basically for our lifetimes, could not have been human directed. It's too brilliant. It's too far ahead thinking. The control of an entire planet, it's really excessively well done. It's a pristine hoodwink is what I say. And even to this day, where we still have so many people questioning whether there's actually aliens around us. And to me now, that's certainly been answered. That is why I am absolutely certain that there's a non-human intelligence that is controlling the overall manipulation of the planet.
Okay, this brings to mind several things. One is discussions with intuitives, mediums, people who channel, things like that. We'll often talk about a group of star beings that want to try and keep us trapped or controlled. Then there's another group, and maybe more than one race, another star race, that wants to free us of what many people call the Matrix. Does that come into play in your research and your experience, or is that something that is neither here nor there?
No, that's absolutely on track, but let me define that a little more. The Draco Reptilians are the lead of the malevolent group. If you want to call them star beings, you can. They are certainly not from here, but they were here on the planet before we evolved onto the planet. So the Draco Reptilians are known as planet-conquering hordes across the multiverse, and they are known as the Mafia, like the worst of the worst, and they have conquered many worlds with this exact same velvet takeover that they've done on our planet. However, they picked the wrong target this time because of picking humans, because of our explosive capabilities, which is basically when we step into love as humans, the frequency of the planet gets to a physical point that they cannot stay. And that's what's happening right now. We're in the final phase of this, where the Draco Reptilians are literally having to depart because the frequency of our planet is rising. So Gaia, if you want to call her, I call her Sophia. She's rising. So you have the Draco that are running the malevolent show. Below them, you've got Greys that are kind of helpers. You've got Maitra that are helpers, and a couple of other groups that help the Draco with this mind control, to include all the way down to the CIA plays a big role in this, not just the American government. But you have to remember that when you ask me about alien manipulation, if they have the technology to come here, which they clearly do, everybody's seen UFOs at some point, or they've seen something, or they've seen enough videos. If they have the technology to come here, do you think they have the technology to step inside any body like mine and make me a mouthpiece? Absolutely they do. So realize that what you're seeing at all of the top manipulation levels, as far as government, media, most likely that's a reptilian agenda. We literally have tons of races here within the planet, on the planet, around the planet, watching this unfold because they won't break the prime directive, as the malevolent aliens have already been doing.
I really like the explanation, and it's already confirmed what many of us think. Really good point about the frequency of love. The frequency of love is almost like driving them out of here. And it has something to do with what's happening here in the States. We're seeing an unraveling. Isn't that what some of the good star people or the star races really want from us?
And that's the thing about humans. That's why we're considered royalty in the multiverse, is the capability that we have. You got to remember, a lot of alien races, including benevolent alien races, they don't have emotions. The Greys have no emotions. The Reptilians have no emotion. There's no love or hate. They don't understand that. What we bring as humans, as royalty, so to speak, we not only bring love, we bring it at such a level that even the other alien races who do have emotions are like, we're good, but you guys are unspeakably beyond, like, your potential is beyond all alien races, and that's what's occurring.
And you also touched on the CIA, and that kind of preempted one of the questions I had, which was,
sorry,
it's exactly what we want to dive into, is the deep state.
Sure.
Now, we've heard civilian discussions about the deep state, but what many of us have thought about the deep state has something to do with star race, or what you call alien cooperation or participation. The reason I don't use the word alien, because years ago when I just started the podcast, one of my first interviews was with a medium, and she told me that they don't like, because she's had experiences, they don't like being called alien because that means apart, and many of them, I don't know about the malevolent kind, but many of them do not feel apart from us.
So, Johnny, that's very nice of you, and you can use ETs from now on, and you won't upset anybody. ETs is what's used by the secret space program personnel. You're right.
Right.
Stay on target with that. If you can just switch it to ETs over time, and if you make a mistake once in a while, don't worry. I'll completely harangue you for it.
Good. I like that. I'm trying to learn like everybody else.
Aliens too. Yeah, we're learning new languages as we move into this disclosure that's rapidly hitting us, and so I think it's fine. But just remember, ETs is now the politically correct thing to say, so we'll start saying that.
Exactly. I just don't want to piss off any of the good star races. We need as much help as we can get, and if they are around us, the malevolent kind that are in the government, it doesn't surprise me that there is some kind of malevolent star race embedded in them. How did it start? Did it start like 100 years ago? Longer than that, where there was this cooperation between government officials and the ETs, good or bad or whatever?
No, much longer. And I'll give you a good reference. There's a book called The Dark Fleet, and it's only a couple years old. I highly recommend reading it. If you're fascinated with how the reptilians came here, how the mind control began, the book will take you to pre-Atlantis, and he does it quickly. I can't even remember the author's name. It's basically about how the Nazis came in contact with the Draco reptilians, how it all kicked off with the Nazis. But he takes you into the history of how the Draco reptilians came here. They brought the moon with them. Notice your moon doesn't rotate. It's not a moon. What I'm saying is the Dark Fleet, a quick thing on the moon, that's literally for mind control. It's just a frequency expander. It's hollow, and it was brought here as technology to control humanity, to keep us in the third frequency. I only say that because that's covered in the Dark Fleet a little bit. But what he does do is he takes you through literally the history of how aliens knew we were about to evolve on the planet. That's how much we're considered royalty. This was a planned thing, that we were kind of a beaker experiment. Like, all the alien races in the multiverse knew, okay, humanity is about to rise. The Draco, being the planet-conquering hordes that they are. Now, this is the Draco reptilian. It's not all Draco. I want to be clear. Just like humans have a bad faction that maybe you could call the Nazis, that's not all humanity. The Draco are the same way. It's a faction of the Draco reptilians that are kind of the mafia thugs in the multiverse. I want to be clear about that. There are Draco that are below our planet right now that want us to succeed, that are trying to weed out their Nazi faction, so to speak. We're all trying to rise here, including the Draco.
I've heard that too. There are some that go towards the light.
To get back to your question of the history of this, the Dark Fleet will get you there. After that, you can take a look at my book, Hush. That'll take you from basically where the Nazis make their first contact with the Draco forward.
All right, good. I definitely want to check that out. I have a funny feeling that's going to be mind-blowing. So just to digress for a moment, the theory or the legend of the Anunnaki colonizing this planet or seeding it some 300,000-400,000 years ago is not that far off the mark.
Check out the Dark Fleet. All of that stuff is covered. I won't go into it because that's not my vein with the alien presence thing. There's so many areas you can mine of interest, and the Anunnaki is not my vein. The super past history, I like to understand it, but I'm more fascinated with how covert events began from about 1940, where the first physical interactions between humans and Draco, where contracts were signed. That's where I take it. From that point, 1933 basically forward, is where it all begins, and Antarctica with the Nazis and the Draco and anti-gravity ships. I take it from there forward. That's what I know about.
It is a pretty dense subject, to say the very least. What are some experiences that you can tell us about that actually inspired the book Hush?
Sure. So as far as a physical experience, when I was a high schooler listening to rock music one night, I think it was a Saturday night, in Seattle, Washington. My house was about 20 miles away from the city, but I had this great view of the skyline. And I saw this thing going nuts over the city. And by then I was already a private pilot my senior year in high school. So I knew everything that we had in our arsenal. I just was a fanatic about studying aircraft. And I'm like, we don't have anything that'll do that. It was light speed back and forth across and then going crazy. And I thought, am I the only one seeing this? I was just about to call the radio station when the DJ cut the rock music. It was like Aerosmith or something. Let me just say, we're not going to put on any more music. We've got something over the city. And I was like, yes, I have seen my first UFO. That was 1981. It's the year I graduated from high school. Yeah.
Was that one of your first experiences?
That was just more in my mind at the time. I was just like fun. I wasn't into UFOs when I was a senior in high school. I was thinking about, I want to go to flight school at some point, but I was looking ahead at like college, right? So it was just a moment in time where I just remember like, wow, I actually saw a UFO with a bajillion other people who all called in and said, it's doing things. And then it, of course, just vanished up into the sky after 2 or 3 minutes. And then those calls on that radio station went on for the next 2 hours where people were like, we were right below it. And it was just crazy. It was kind of a good confirmation that something from other than our planet was right in front of me, which was cool.
Something not of this earth. Okay, let's talk about some of the experiences that actually shaped the book from your experience as a pilot. You were a Marine pilot. Tell us about those experiences.
So I got out of college with a history degree from the University of Arkansas and went right into flight training for the Marines, which means I went through Navy flight training, so Pensacola, Florida, all the kind of Top Gun stuff like that. I was then selected for jets, and as I went through carrier qualification and all that, I then was selected to fly what's called an A6 Intruder. It's an all-weather attack jet, a 2-seat jet where a bombardier navigator sits right next to me. I went to my gun squadron, which means the kind of your final squadron that you're actually going to go do your tour in. And I was based out of Cherry Point, North Carolina with a Marine squadron. We were sent immediately overseas in 1990. At the end of 1990, we were then based in the Philippines. We were the final squadron to arrive on Bahrain, which is the island just there off Saudi Arabia. And then we were at a expeditionary airfield, which was top secret at the time, called Sheikh Isa. It's still there. On Sheikh Isa, which is basically a massive NATO base, we were then told, hey, on the 11th, we're going over the fence with bombs and we're not bringing them back. So it was like, wow, this is actually kicking off. So it just so happened at that time that I was also, so every pilot has a secondary billet that they have to do, like be a maintenance officer or whatever. I was the squadron intelligence officer, meaning I'm in the secure room reading all the top secret traffic that's coming through, not only for our squadron, but worldwide. So it's just the traffic that's like on a teletype, so to speak. So I'm reading the top secret traffic. I'm now flying missions in Desert Storm every night of the war. And I'm coming back to the mess hall where the officers are eating, and I'm watching CNN. They had a big CNN TV. So I'm getting these 3 antenna. One of what missions I'm doing, and I know what I'm doing, obviously. But then I'm reading the top secret traffic, and I'm like, this is not corresponding with what I'm doing. And then I'm watching CNN, and I'm going, that's not corresponding with what's going on. So the impetus for Hush, and a quick, concise version of what happened right after my military careers, I got out and went into writing screenplays in Hollywood and producing and directing. I'm a storyteller. What led to Hush was I just had a sense back then, like there's a bigger mechanism that's controlling things here. This isn't the American government. It's not the American military. It's not the British. I just knew you know how sometimes you have that gut feeling that eats away where you're like, that's just not right. I had that for several years, and that's what led to me wanting to go into what is this whole covert thing that's happening here, like a parallel universe happening compared to what I was experiencing. I just sensed there was something else bigger manipulating things. So that's what led to Hush, and Hush is basically your covert history from like 1940 forward.
And the actual title implies that these are things that the typical civilian's not really supposed to know about, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Or if you do know about it, you might want to not speak about it.
Okay. And you also mentioned in the book impossible events hiding in plain sight. Can you give us an example of that?
Sure. So that there's aliens all around you. Some people will say, no, I don't. Some people will say, yes, I do. That's one example. Let me give you a more concise example for other folks who have done a lot of research. Do you believe Roswell occurred? I certainly didn't. And I'll just tell you, being a kind of coming from a hardcore skeptic background and then being a combat pilot and being all about, I need some research, I need details. Once I did take the effort and time and the years to study Roswell, it very quickly, from the volumes of information, became apparent that not only did it occur, but it was a massive thing that was completely buried, to the point that even today, Roswell never really happened. That was just a weather balloon. That's what I mean by it's hiding in plain sight. It's all in front of you. There are aliens, from what I understand from my sources, roughly 120 races here now all around us. It's coming quickly, but the first things that you're going to see will be just a more simple contact event. But eventually they will bring us into, they've been around you all this time, but they couldn't break the prime directive. But getting back to your question, hiding in plain sight. If you don't think Roswell happened, that's a perfect example for you to maybe do a little research and go, oh my gosh, maybe it did happen. Then you understand what hiding in plain sight means.
I can't speak for everyone, but I think it's fairly obvious that it did happen, and the government is covering up. I'd like to know, when we talk about disclosure, is there going to be an event that you know of within the next year or two, or is that impossible to really say it's going to happen by the end of 2026 or 2027?
The answer is yes. All my sources, and this is from even 6 years ago, my sources were saying the same. By 2027, I don't know if it's the beginning of the year or the end of the year, this is almost like an agreed upon thing from the benevolent races who are in contact with not just our government. You have to remember, and again, this is my take on it, this is above all governments. This is in cooperation with all governments. All governments are involved, trust me, at the top secret levels of what's being worked on right now. Disclosure will come most likely from a contact event. This is not exactly how it's going to play out, but I'll give you an example. Let's just say that 6 ships firstly come in and hover over cities, and they're just sitting there. They're not doing anything. But what do we as humans do? Whoa, there's ships here. And then let's just say the ships vanish. What do humans do? We start discussing it. Oh my God, I know I've heard about aliens. What happens? We settle into, oh my, this is something that they've been saying is going to happen. So then a day later, the ships reappear. But this time they land. They're silent. And everybody's like, oh my gosh. And beings come out. Maybe they're tall looking Nordics. There's no shots being fired. But now, because of the preparation with humanity from ships on all major cities worldwide on the same day, now they're landing. Beings are exiting. They're friendly. They may even say, you can come with us if you want to get off this crazy world. All I'm saying is use your heart. And it sounds funny, but what's wild is you have to remember that just like on the globe, we all have factions. Some are not necessarily on the up and up, right? We have lots of civilizations here. You have to remember that everyone is going to be watching this event. It's not going to be a perfect event. It's going to be an event where we are being brought into the galactic community. But do you think there's going to be a malevolent alien push to do whatever they can to upset things? Certainly there will be. I'm just saying, worldwide, the event will be so that in stages, we will get little pieces of, okay, it's here now. There's no more, we're not going to be concerned about, was there a Roswell? People who, like my family, no belief in Roswell, no belief in aliens, and I've got brothers and sisters who went to Princeton, Yale, everything. And they look at me like, you are full tilt crazy. I'm down with it. Disclosure will be individual for each person.
You're saying it's going to be individual.
Just think about it. Right now, you believe Roswell occurred. I can promise you, I've got people who, if we all had to take tests, they're going to win the test, and they don't believe Roswell occurred. So for them, disclosure is going to be different than it is for you. Are you going to walk up to a being that's just exited a ship because you're more comfortable with there's probably aliens around us? Whereas maybe my family's, I'm not going near that person coming out of that ship. Disclosure will be an individual thing for each soul. And each soul can walk up to the ship. If they want to go with the people on that ship, that's that soul's choice.
As long as they can take me back to their planet where there's nothing but supermodels and rivers of weapons-grade Cabernet. And
you want to go to Venus. I have heard just exactly what you're saying. Venus is the place. I'll meet you at the bar.
Why Venus, though?
My understanding is the shortest Venetian is about 6 foot tall. They are absolute, like their planet. Yes, you can be on Venus. It's not 800 degrees. It's 85 degrees, despite all of the mind control that says you can't even be on. No, all the planets in our solar system have life, are habitable. But Venus, with its cities that are below ground, from my understanding from the secret space program personnel that I'm in contact with, is the most marvelous. Not only are they the top-notch love beings, like they teach the American secret space program personnel how to increase their love frequency. They're literally sent there for 6 months because we now fight with love. Unbelievable. But our secret space force personnel are to the point now that when they have to go attack even reptilians on another planet where they're causing trouble and we have to go in to help, we arrive in force, but we also arrive with a love intent of all things. And those reptilians that are going to turn, that are be like, I know we've been doing wrong and I want to go with you guys, they actually turn. And I'm just saying, this is the level of power when we bring it. The Venusians are literally, from what I understand, when you're on their planet, even the plants, they say as you walk by plants, you're just freaking out because there's so much love vibration. You are immersed in, it's almost like being in mirth. There's so much love. When they look at you, they're supposedly, from that love vibration, their physical bodies are stunning. They're tall, like up to 9 feet tall. Blue eyes, stunning. And so I'm just saying, if you're going to go anywhere, I'll meet you on Venus. And supposedly their cities are below the planet's surface and are just breathtaking. Yeah.
Have you seen any of these creatures from any race? Doesn't matter.
No.
But you've read what you call the traffic report.
Not just read, but I have access to interviews of secret space program personnel being debriefed. And it is amazing what humanity already, how much our personnel that are out in space, and we have fleets in space, that it's not just our galaxy anymore, we're out there, have learned from these other races who have been trying to help us, because at the end of the day, by far, the most powerful races are the ancient races that have evolved into love. There is no force, the Draco, they can't be in the energy of love. It's that powerful. So we're on the right track.
So the Venusians trying to jumpstart or supercharge our love batteries or our power, isn't that what's eventually going to drive the Dracos and all the malevolent races out of here?
Right.
And actually win the proverbial war?
Right. So you're exactly right. So love wins, but the way that occurs, it's not, and this is another mind-blowing thing that's occurring all around you. It's not just us. Think of, I call her Sophia, other people call her Gaia. I don't care what you call her. Our Earth is alive. She is alive and she's blooming. The universe is alive. It's a sentient consciousness. It's alive. What's occurring with the Earth is as she is blooming, which is right now, she's like the mother bear dragging her cubs along with us. We are rising with her. So the frequency, the literal frequency from what all of the benevolent alien races are saying is, this is like a pincer movement for the malevolent races that are not going to be able to stay here. The pincer movement is as she is rising, the benevolent races are just outside of our planet and just outside of our solar system. They're working with our sun. They're literally sending waves to increase the frequencies all around our planet so that no malevolent aliens above ground or below ground can stay. They literally physically have to leave. So we are rising with our mother. It's a pretty beautiful thing, but it's that powerful. And here I am, a combat pilot, talking woo-woo stuff. I'm telling you, you are in the right time to be alive. It's going to get rough.
It already is rough.
Use your heart. Yeah, it already is rough on CNN and all that. I'm just saying, turn all that off. Go inside right now. That's where your communication wavelength opens to all these benevolent races who do want to communicate with you. You start here. Get out of this. Go back to this. This is what you came in with. And it's accessible to everyone. Get quiet each day a little bit. Take 5 minutes. Turn off your technology. See what you are. Open your heart. Get out of this. Let this be an extension of your heart to interpret what the heart is knowing. It knows it all. And whatever communication that you're supposed to have in this moment, it's amazing what occurs. All I can say, you'll have molecular changes. It's unbelievable.
And it also seems to parallel or correspond to what, again, the intuitives are talking about, moving from 3D to 5D, raising our vibration, ascension, etc. You've heard it all before. Moving into the Aquarian age of what? Love. The people that talk about raising our vibration again and again, they're doing it for a reason. And I would think that our star relatives, because I don't want to piss anyone off here, are probably saying, okay, yeah, you've got the right idea. Let's pump up the vibration so we can get these other clowns out of here, because they're not really doing us any good.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And so it's interesting how all the stuff that you've heard is hearsay, that eventually love will win. It's the real deal. Yeah. That's what's fun to me is, oh my God, all this stuff that I always thought was just fluff is not only not fluff, it's our incredible future that's happening right now.
To echo one of your thoughts, it's going to be a rough going, and I've heard two things over the last couple of years. One, you, meaning any of us, were very brave to choose to incarnate into this period, but you're also very lucky because you're going to see some amazing things. And we've all been hearing about just disclosure and alien races, this one, that one, and what it means for us. And I think a lot of us are scared, but a lot of us are looking forward to it and thinking, bring it on. You've asked me about the spaceship, if one landed or landed in the lake in front of the house here. Am I going to be afraid? Probably. But the thing is, whether they're good or bad, it's not like I have any place to run. I might as well embrace it.
So that's what's awesome is it will be your choice. And all I can say is this. When I mention that you have to understand, just like on our globe, whenever any great big event is happening, say an inauguration, there's also elements that are in the crowd that might not have your best interest in mind. And what I'm saying is when the contact event occurs, there may be also a human harvest going on. So think Draco Reptilian taking whatever they can get before they're having to leave the planet. There may be ETs that exit from craft. And do they have the technology to make you feel good if you're outside the craft? Yes. Do they make you feel like you're talking to a returned God? Yes. Use your heart. If they're offering like, you can come with us and we can show you our planet and it's amazing. All I'm saying is it might not be in your best interest. The way you'll know is this. This is your superpower. And that's what I mean by, if I can only say one thing to humanity as we're moving forward here, go inside. This is the thing that as we rise, as the overall frequency reaches a critical point with humanity going inside, it is what wins. It's all of us. It's that critical mass of love where the planet can finally just do the shift. We are not only in the galactic community, we're kind of then leading it.
And having a leading position within the Federation, for lack of a better word or description, we'll be in a position of power. It'll be very strange because I think our tendency is to think that we're inferior beings to them. But what you're telling me about our ability to love is greater than several different races.
Let me clarify that a little bit. It's not a position of power to the extent that obviously love is beyond power and control. It is the unstoppable force. It is the universe. The universe is literally made of love, right? But what happens is, as we step into who we are as interdimensional beings, where we can take any frequency. Right now, we're in the third frequency where you and I see each other. It's linear physics. It's linear time. It's all of this stuff. When we step even into the fourth frequency, our duality, you being apart from me, is no longer sensed. We will literally know when the planet does the full shift, and it's coming quickly, like by 2027, roughly, when that overall frequency occurs, all of a sudden, it's almost like an all of a sudden aha moment. We will all understand, like, Johnny, you and I, we're all one. There is no more duality. There's no more linear time. There's no more linear physics. We are in the galactic essence, so to speak. And the galactic essence is, we're then coming from love. It's not that humans have to suddenly like, okay, now we're king dogs. It's not that. We'll be well beyond that. And we'll also understand that it's not about hierarchy, or it's about bringing the universe, like working with the universe that's already there with love beings from all these malevolent races and going, how do we increase everybody, including the Draco? Like, it will be that level where we'll be like, how do we take the entire universe? Because that's what the universe wants. It wants to step into itself as full love. It's hard to get it all together, but I'm giving you what I understand from watching the debriefs of people meeting all these various different alien races. And they're all saying the same thing. We are being welcomed, but we're also being welcomed almost as, God, your capabilities, your royalty. Yeah.
What I meant by power was the power of love, but we're not completely helpless and at risk. But I think what you're getting at is separation is an illusion, and we're getting close to oneness. Is that more like it?
That's exactly right. That's the key. That's the ticket.
I'm not going to ruin that by over-talking, so I think we're going to stop here. My feeling is, MD, and thank you very much for coming on to the program, I do think there will be more installments of this discussion. Great stuff. In the meantime, how can our listeners find you online?
Sure. They can just go to mdselig.com. All the links are there for the book, and please give us a review on Amazon so that more people can understand that this transition is occurring right now.
You've been listening to Closer to Venus. I'm Johnny Burke. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing. In the meantime, you can find more info on closertovenus.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.